So here I'm going to show you how to isolate hip flexion, abduction, and external rotation of the hip joint using a stick or dowel. So standing upright, you're going to take this stick or dowel and at a 45-degree angle, place it about a foot away from you. Now I'm going to show you how to manipulate this later, but first we're going to start here. So if I have it in my right hand, I'm going to stick my left foot onto the pole as low as possible. This is going to start me in a fully adducted position. Now from here, my focus is simply going to be on driving this foot up the pole as high as possible and trying to really fight to maintain a stable pelvis, a stable spine, as I really push to get up as high as I can. As I go up, my hip is automatically coming into hip flexion while transitioning into abduction. And by nature, if I just slide my foot up, I'm actually going to have to go into external rotation because of the lever that my shin is providing. So by keeping in contact with this pole, you can see that I'm combining three motions: flexion, abduction, and external rotation of the hip. What's great about this variation is I can also manipulate where I can work, right? So if I come across and come closer to my midline, I'm starting in less of an adducted position. But what that means is, as I come up into more hip flexion, I'm actually going to be going into more abduction. So this is going to challenge me a little bit more in a little different way. Something else that you can do is change the leverage to make it a little easier for you. So if I go up and I slide my foot up the pole and stick, but want to make it a little easier, I just want to manipulate the moment arm to make it easier on my hip by bending my knee more. Because the more weight that's away from my body or from this hip joint, the more my hip is going to have to work. So if I wanted to, I can bring the foot or the pole closer to me, and as I come up into this hip flexion and abduction, I'm still getting external rotation. But now because of my knee being bent a little bit more, it just makes it a little bit easier in terms of leverage. If I wanted to make it harder, I can actually bring the pole away from me, and so that when I come up into more hip flexion and abduction, the external rotation could be a little tougher because now my foot is further away and it's past 90 degrees at my knee joint, and now the leverage is working against me, so I'm going to have to work a little bit harder. So this variation is very easy to manipulate positions in order to manipulate leverage of the motion. It's a very good way of isolating those three motions of the hip, and you can do this to really improve your hip controlled articular rotation, or hip CAR, or simply if you want to work a very important muscle called Sartorius, which comes across and comes down and attaches to the medial aspect of that knee, which, funny enough, those three motions are exactly the line of pull that that muscle has over the hip joint. So give that a shot and let me know what you think.